going to talk a little bit about some of the mods that I've already done. And then we're going to do more than just the tutorial that I was talking about. This is the EXN Pagode. I've got some armor here. It's Velcroed on the front. Nice little bumper here. Velcroed on. Comes down, I don't think far enough. So we're going to do a couple of different things. So this is Gen 1, but it served its purpose. This wheel took a crash at 33 miles an hour and came out pretty good. Just a couple of scratches. And then there's the rear bumper. And again, we're going to extend that down. The mud guard that comes with it, it's actually pretty functional. A lot of people hate it. I think it's best to just not latch it in all the way and kind of let it just kind of flop around back here a little bit wider. I think that's really the move. And then the seat, the stock seat that it comes with, I absolutely love it. It does sit you in just such a great place. So if you haven't done that to your EXN, it's totally worth it. These are some custom pads that are printed from the Zero pad schematic on Thingiverse. So this is completely available for you if you want to do that. You know, they're great. They're just amazing. So I actually paid a guy locally to print them for me, and they were 80 bucks. You know, we could probably do something like that for anybody if you guys are interested. They do a wonderful job. All right, so I'm winging this. You're gonna have to bear with me here, okay? Actually, I'm gonna swap this. So, the first thing that you gotta do is throw your stuff out dramatically. I really like the light that I got from Five Below. It's crazy because this thing was only $5, and a lot of the lights that I see on Amazon, those things tend to be, you know, between like 13 or something to like they go up to, you know, you can spend like $50 on a rear tail light. So this one had like a cool little laser function, super duper dope. The headlight actually worked out well too. That's the floor stuff that I got from Five Below. I use that for my armor. I just like the way that it looks. You can paint it whatever color that you like, and this yoga mat worked out incredible. It was a little bit thicker than a regular yoga mat, but like the density just didn't seem up there. It wasn't really what I was hoping for. It was thicker, but it was just a little flimsy-ish. This Velcro, this industrial Velcro, is absolutely strong. It's ridiculous. Some glue sticks, some batteries, some razors. You're gonna need really, really, really sharp object. Whatever paint you want, preferably do something that's like a paint and primer, so that way you don't have to spend a whole lot of time trying to figure it out. I just want it done really quickly. So kind of checking out what I did before, I'm just trying to assess what it is that I'm going to need from this whole, new pad situation. There were some definite shortcomings in my first round, even though they were functional. So you see I've got them there, and I'm going to try to figure out exactly what I need to do. This was a good idea, learning as you go. As a rule of thumb, make sure you have your ruler. So there's some shortcomings here. You're going to want to make sure that you come up with whatever sort of armor that you want. What do you want it to look like? It's got to have function to it, but you really got to kind of just consider what you want it to look like. So, I'm going to make my armor look kind of like a sword, kind of like with the rounded edges, and that's what it looks like. It's like kind of a sword that I ended up, cutting out and framing several different times. So once you get your little cutout, you're going to want to, set it on the wheel and actually make sure that you've got the clearance that you need around the pedals or, your pads or whatever have you, just to make sure that, everything fits and you don't get to the end of it without having it working exactly as you want to. this is your own armor. This is whatever you want it to be. So to that end, you really have to just kind of be creative and have fun. Maybe you want rounded edges, maybe you want these solid edges, you know, maybe you want the bottoms to be pointed, maybe you want one side to be yellow, one side to be green, whatever it is. There's no wrong way to do this. Just make sure you come up with a creative way to armor your machine. And in this instance, I'm really a big fan of that diamond graded gym floor material. It's really, really protective, and so I'm gonna work that to the fullest. I really didn't like the way that the edges were kind of off balance before, so you know, as I'm checking things out, this is round 2. This is the second iteration. I want to make sure that it goes exactly as I want it to, and you know, to that end, you know, I tried to make sure to double check everything, you know, go really slow around the corners here, make sure that you get it exactly as you need it to be. And, you know, once you line it up and you make sure that it's fitting exactly as you want it to, then you can take the next step and go on and, you know, actually create the armor. Now, try to use the space wisely. You'll see that I'm using the edges twice here. So every straight line, I'm trying to make sure that I get to use that as an opportunity to be the edge for the next piece of armor. Label things if you've got a lot of them that are going to be the same parts. You know, try to label them so you don't end up getting frustrated down the line, because that's totally possible and it sucks. So it looks like, you know, I have just enough armor to, you know, enough floor to make the armor for my EXN with the extra long pieces like I want. And so I'm going to utilize a strategy that I really didn't think about the first time. And, you know, using a ruler or a straight edge when you're running the blade down will make it so much cleaner. Definitely take advantage of this strategy. Be patient, you know, put something up underneath the flooring. It really, really helps. I've got some extra cardboard up underneath, so that way, you know, I can cut without messing up the floors underneath and, you know, ruining any surfaces. And that way the lines just go really, really quickly down. And you'll see I tried to save a little bit of room around the edges, so that way I don't frustrate myself trying to cut and like hit these notches every single time. So plan out the way that it's going to work, and it's going to work out so much better. You know, and especially with sharp objects, really make sure to take your time. Don't rush. You know, this has got to be something fun that you're doing. And if you plan it out and it's methodical, it's going to work out so much better for you. You'll see that everything kind of cleanly pops loose. I'm kind of double checking to make sure that none of the cuts are shallow, that they are all the way through, and you know that the armor is going to come out easy. And boom, you see how quick it came out. I just tried to clean up the notches at the bottom, and when you look at them side by side, you can see that it's a way different animal. It's a way different animal. That's kind of where we're at with those brackets. So I'll lay another couple coats on and flip them over, and then we'll run it. Well, I made a mess. I really did. Try to be careful, you know, with your messes. There's all the parts. I just, you know, especially if you got a roommate. So check it out. The wheel without any armor on right here. It's just naked with all of the Velcro and that. But you know, just so you kind of get an idea of where we're starting. You know, without any armor at all. Make sure that you keep your blade sharp. You know, if you're a kid, make sure that your parents are helping you with this. Do not do this by yourself if you are under 18. Do not. Straight edges are going to really help with the process. Take your time. Use a straight edge. I promise you, it's worth it in spades. You know, I know this time-lapse thing makes it seem like this is like the quickest thing ever, but this should take you a good, you know, 3 hours if you're spending time the right way doing it. Gosh, those pieces just came out so good. I really hope that you guys came up with your own design. And by the way, you should totally
take the time to figure out, what kind of armor defines you. I know that sounds silly, but, take inspiration from wherever you want it from. Just make sure that the armor is nice and thick and serves the purpose right, and that it covers any of the contact spots. Make sure you make armor for, if you don't have a seat, you really need armor for the spine, for where the grip area is. You totally need armor there, because that's going to be a really, really weak point. Not just the bumpers on the front and the back. Okay, on the sides, where the wheels curve, between the front and the right side, and between the back and the right side, like those areas, you really need to make sure that there's coverage there, good coverage, because you can end up, just covering only the front and back with these bumpers, and then you end up with this exposed area where your wheel can suffer this contact if it slides on its side, even though you might have power pads, which will cover it. I didn't have any of the 5-pound Velcro, and I honestly wanted to switch over entirely to the industrial strength stuff. So here we go. Pick and pull, pick and pull, pick and pull. What do you do when you pick and pull Velcro and stack it in a singular spot? When I realized that there was kind of these exposed areas at the bottom, I was like, no, sir, we will not let that happen. Not on my watch. And so, I decided I wanted to make these little bumpers for the bottom of the undercarriage. And so, cut desired trim. Now, when you come outside or into a well-ventilated area, you've got to, have your color scheme kind of ready. I'm a black on black on black, like Johnny Cash sort of guy. Black is just, it works. I like it. And I have a lot of that paint sitting around, so it worked out nicely. Take your time. Provide even good coverage. Don't do like me, because I kind of rushed. I realized that there was a weakness right there by the button that turns on the EXN and the charging port. And I didn't want that weakness there anymore. I saw scratches from a wreck that I had, and so I developed this little charging port cover. If you cut a line down the middle of your straight object and you kind of fold it together, you can kind of get this little rounded effect. And I added a little bumper extra for kind of an aggressive look, and to add a little bit more durability to the whole process. Any adhesive will do, like epoxy, super glue, maybe silicone, I don't know, but for me, super glue, the hot glue gun is just so quick and it's really strong. So put on what you need, and make sure that you hold it firm until it cures. Sometimes it's like 2 minutes, sometimes it's 3 minutes. Somebody probably knows the actual time for all forms of glue used in a glue gun, but I don't. Make sure that you hit the sides of your armor. It's not just the top. You're going to want to provide as much detail as you can, because this is your wheel after all. So, as much love as you feel like you deserve, then give that to your wheel and, watch what happens. You'll be really happy with it. I realized that there were some gaps in my armor flap for the front, and I didn't like it. So I used my glue gun, kind of like some caulking, to kind of fill in those seams, to kind of make sure that, just from an aesthetic perspective, it worked way better. And, and then from a functional perspective, that it wasn't going to be something that can be picked off or pulled off. I wanted a little bit of spice, so I decided that my little undercarriage bumpers, I wanted those red. I didn't want it flashy and outright and gaudy, but I just wanted this nice little, accent. And so the red under bumpers was a wonderful accent, and I'm so thrilled with the way that it came out. Trying to check on those little light brackets as well. Just make sure you give as much coverage to these parts, as you feel like you're going to need. 2-3 coats will probably do you well. And then, look at what happens. That cover came out gorgeous. All of the armor, really. That shiny black just really stuck out. And you see, when it's all said and done, it actually looks really, really amazing. So here we go, trying to figure out how to mount this Velcro. Now, this industrial strength Velcro, you're gonna want some shears to work with, and get those stencils that you had, that you used to draw the outlines on your flooring, and measure against those, and then kind of reproduce how many lengths you need. So I know that I've got 4 of a certain length, so I cut out 4 pieces of Velcro, sticky side and soft side, and then I mounted them together so that way I could just fit them onto the wheel. And then once I fit them onto the wheel, I knew that my pieces would fit, so I would just mount the the armor on after the fact. So this was a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be, but you want to make sure throughout the process that you do keep your surface clean. So you see I have the alcohol sitting right next to me there, and I know it's moving fast so you can't see it. You really got to make sure that you clean the surfaces of the wheel that you plan on putting an adhesive on, so that way it doesn't come off in any kind of simple circumstance. I mean, it can be pulled off eventually, but you don't want it to just like not stick to the surface because it's dirty or has any kind of oil or road grime on it or something like that. That'll just ruin or defeat the purpose. So take your time. This is going pretty quick, but take your time. Make sure that you're going to have clearance on your fender. Clean, extra clean. And I ended up cutting the Velcro in half down the middle, like kind of widthwise, in order to mount the armor on the front of the wheel and on the back of the wheel, because the industrial Velcro is like 1.5 inches or maybe 2 inches wide, and that was just definitely too wide to do anything functional on the front side or the back side. So the front and back bumpers definitely needed to have that Velcro cut in half. And again, I chose the strategy of marrying the Velcro, both sides stuck together onto the wheel, so that way I could just kind of put my armor onto the wheel instead of like putting the Velcro onto the armor and then mounting it onto the wheel, which it was just a strategy that I thought of, and I felt pretty good about it. Those bumpers look so good. I'm happy that I chose red for that. Just a nice little look. And so here you go. It actually ended up working out perfectly. Had a little piece of one of my bumpers come out. Used the glue gun to kind of sew that up. But I was really, really happy with the way that everything came out. Right, y'all. That's it right there. That's it right there. We got our new armor. Right, you saw this from the beginning, me cutting out all the little things. Here, I'll go ahead and turn this on. Right there. You see? So I added a little light here, so that way I get a little extra visibility down yonder. Right, isn't that cool? So then the armor goes all the way down. You'll see I got the red accents down here, my little bumpers. Little red accents down there, my little bumpers. Got this dope LED light to kind of supplement the rear lighting there, just to kind of give a little bit more zest. And I got that front light again, like I said, and then all of our armor. Oh, and then the coup de grace, the coolest thing that I've got going on right here, is this guy, this custom panel that I made. So that way I can cover up the start button and the battery pack while I'm out in the rain. If I'm, ever out in the rain, or if this thing ever takes a fall again, then, and it might, it's gonna be a little bit better. So there we go, guys. Thanks for tuning in.